The Nerdbilly Podcast welcomes you. The best damn podcast in the world just for you. This script is lame. They paid me to sing this tune. I'm not wearing pants.
You are now listening to the Nerdbilly Podcast, featuring two of the sexiest nerds alive, the dreamy Ed Webb and the adorable Philip Dreyer Duncan. All right, boys, get in there and thrash around a bit.
Lord.
Lord am I. All right, I think we're live.
We are live.
Introductions.
So you can do like an official introduction and clean this up, or are we just going to roll with that?
Well, I don't know. Do an official introduction, and we'll see what sounds better.
I thought you did the official introductions around here.
Oh, well, okay.
You introduce you, and then you introduce me. I'll introduce Jason.
This is already getting too funny to cut. Hello, everybody. My name is Edward Webb, and I'm here with the Nerdbilly Podcast. This is our second annual episode, if you will.
Second annual?
Yeah.
As in year?
That's proper grammar, isn't it?
Well, no, it's not, because that would imply that we did one a year ago.
Oh, well, I suppose you're right. Can't bitch at the technicalities in math.
Are you going to introduce me or just be stupid the whole time?
Well, I could be stupid the whole time, but you can introduce your own damn self with a couple of co-hosts today.
So, I am Philip Dreyer Duncan, the other host of the Nerdbilly Podcast, and we have our first guest today. We have Mr. Jason Reese. Say hello.
Hello.
Yeah, all right. He's excited to be here, apparently.
Oh, indeed. Oh, can
Jason.
you blame him? I mean, we do have a great repertoire on the internet.
This is my first podcast, so I'm actually super excited to be here.
Jason is
wonderful.
a longtime friend of mine, a fellow nerd and hillbilly, along with Ed and I, although Ed doesn't really claim to be a hillbilly. So, Jason...
Well, it's just the only hills are miles away. I used to live next to Red Hill, and that was pretty shitty.
So I want to kick this off since Jason's on, and I'm hoping he'll be on many times. He'll probably be our most frequent guest, but I have a really funny story to tell about him right out the gate.
Oh, no, here we go. God damn it.
He already knows. He already knows.
You gotta open everything involving my name with that. Every time you're like, hey, meet Jason. Here's a story for you about Jason. This pretty much defines who I am from here on out. This is ridiculous.
It's so funny, though. So, a few months ago, we had our big annual float trip that my father and I host every year. And it basically, we have people come from all over and come hang out with us, float the river, and there's a little bit of drinking involved, just a wee bit. And, we've had people come from Russia. We've had people come from the Philippines just come hang out with us for this big event we do. So this year, on one of the nights, I was one of the last people to go to bed. And unbeknownst to me, usually everybody comes and brings tents who are from out of town. But all my local friends just, we'd kind of crash in the house. So unbeknownst to me, several people had passed out in my room. So I come in, and I'm stepping over bodies, pretty much waking everyone up. Jason's the only person I get by that I thought I didn't wake up. And he is sleeping on the floor parallel to my bed. And I get into my bed, and I get comfortable, and I get ready to go to sleep. And all of a sudden, this hand just grabs my ass. And I go, there is a hand on my ass. And there's just silence for a second. And then I hear Jason's voice say, pillow?
Just for the record, there was a pillow there before I laid down, and you weren't there.
Oh my god, that's funny.
That's great.
So
that's how it goes in the hills, huh?
So that's your unofficial introduction for Jason.
And that defines me from here on out, doesn't it? Thank you for that.
It's also worth mentioning that Jason is a phenomenal guitar player and songwriter. And actually, fun fact for those who may have read my book, The Moonshine Wizard: A Fist of Thorns, several years ago, Jason showed up at my house one night, and he always writes songs. He's written some really wonderful tunes. So one night he shows up at my house, and he says, "Hey, I need some help. I've got part of a song written." And he has scribbled on a piece of paper, probably, I don't know, 8 or 9, 10 lines for a song, and he's already written up his chords and everything. He's already made it up. Really awesome song. So I sat down, me and another friend sat down with him, and we made a full song out of it, wrote several verses, the whole thing. And it was called A Fist of Thorns. It was really good. So that's where I got the name, A Fist of Thorns, from.
Nice. So nothing dirty, huh?
No, nothing dirty.
You just killed the book for me, son of a
I'm
bitch.
sorry.
That's great.
So-
Well, in honor of our second episode, I got a shot of rum here. I was looking for beer in my house, but the only ones I found were like natural lights from December, so I don't think those are any good. So I'm going to go ahead and sip on this for a while.
Well, I would join you, but my house is now alcohol-free.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's no alcohol in my house.
Now, is it alcohol-free as in you quit, or alcohol-free as in you drank it all and haven't bought more?
Or drink it all.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, that's acceptable.
I hear an echo. I hope that's not actually recording.
It is, and it's you guys. It's because your mics are too close.
I'm trying to get further away. What if I
You guys in
whisper
the
like
same
this?
room?
We are actually in the same room.
Yeah.
Almost 3 o'clock in the morning. There's people sleeping.
Is there? Well, it's not too terrible, so I think we can deal with it.
So, something funny I wanted to tell you about.
Funny,
Just
huh?
for... So, I'm part of several writers groups on Facebook. Probably 15 or 20 different writers groups. There's a bazillion of them on there. But for the last couple months, there has been this guy trolling all of the writers groups, and he is freaking hilarious.
Yeah?
He started with, he's been doing basically the same thing. I don't know, he may be serious. If he is, the guy seriously needs to get some help.
Oh, is this the guy who always comes on there and says, "Oh, I need help with this book I'm writing," and blah, 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 blah?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
He comes on and he makes a post in all the writer groups that says, "I need a co-writer. I need someone to help me write the story." And naturally, a lot of people get on there. They, say, "Well, what are you trying to write? What are you doing, and how can I help?" And he says, "Well, I'm writing a fan fiction story about a girl who's in prison." So people try to offer him advice, but he's just a total dick, and it's so funny. I thought I had copied. I was right before we started. I was actually looking because I thought I'd copied down the entire one of the entire conversations, but I guess I lost it. But one of them was a lady gets on there and she's like, "Well, if you go talk to this publisher and tell them I sent you, they will not only publish your story, but they will help you get someone to help you write it." And he just fires back with no. And she's like, "Well, okay then. I was just trying to help." And he's like, I don't want to wait. I want help right now." And she's like, "Well, you don't have to be rude." And he's like, "Fuck you." And she's like, "Well, if you're going to be like that, no, I'm not going to help you at all." And he's like, "Fuck you, Leslie." And God, there's another one I read where he was asking for help, and some girl was like, "You called me a slut last week. Why would I help you? There's no way I would ever help you." And his response is, "Well, enjoy being a fat bitch the rest of your life." So it's gotten so bad that somebody went on Facebook and made a meme of him.
For real? That's great.
Yeah, actually, I can show you right now. Nobody else can see it, but I can show you.
Alrighty.
Maybe.
Well, Jason, while he's looking for that, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Oh, what's to say? Enjoy playing music. Love writing music.
Can you
I'm
see
a
that?
big, I'm a big video game person. I love video games.
I love
actually
video games too.
jumped back into Skyrim here recently. Still have yet to complete that game. And I'm pretty excited about Dragon's Age. It's coming out here pretty soon.
Oh man, me too. That looks awesome.
Oh man, have you
Yes.
seen the stuff on the co-op multiplayer they're gonna have for that game?
Yes, I have.
Oh man, I'm excited. I mean, if it's gonna be anything like the Mass Effect multiplayer they had on 3, I'm totally in.
It's gonna be so amazing.
I don't usually play co-op. Like,
Shut your face.
hey,
You're gonna play.
suckle my testicles, buddy.
You're gonna
I don't
play.
usually play competitive, is what I meant to say, but cooperative is another story. Yeah,
Well,
I prefer.
I'm with you on that, man. I can't stand playing like the Call of Duties and all that stuff. It just gets irritating and old really quickly. But something like if it's like Mass Effect's multiplayer where it's cooperative like that, I don't know. There's something about it. I enjoy the hell out of it though. And I mean, if they're gonna do that with Dragon's Age, I'm fully on board.
Indeed.
Do you guys know that you've actually played Mass Effect together before? I'll just throw that
Yes.
out there.
Yes, I actually remember that. Along with your nephew, cousin person.
Yeah. That is, yeah. Did you see, he actually was one of the ones dumping ice water on me the other day.
Yeah, he shouted out something about that's my whiskey or something along those lines.
Yeah, because, he's like 10, and that's, yeah. Actually, my favorite thing in that whole ice bucket challenge that I didn't catch till long after it was recorded is I get turned around and I was getting ready to say who I was nominating or something, and I'm like trying to get closer to the camera, and I'm like, oh, I'm coming over there. I'm coming is what I said, and the lady who actually owned the pool is in the background. You can hear her say, "Not in my pool, you're not."
Oh man, I didn't catch that. That is great.
So
I come in my pool all the time. Just tell her it rinses out with the filter.
So Ed, are you still getting harassed about doing the ice bucket challenge?
No, since the 24 hours, the date that it was like supposed to be by is over with. Everyone's forgotten about it, much like I figured they would. So all the threats to defamate me on Facebook, they really didn't seem to matter. Which, I mean, I know they didn't. I mean, it's fucking Facebook. Like I told them, I'd like to see that signed and contractable legalness, if that's the phrase. I was just taken aback by it, because, you can be nice, you can be like, no, thank you, I appreciate it, but then when you, like, put your foot down, you're the dickhead.
So this girl that Jason and I know, we were talking to her the other day, and she told me that she had a heat stroke.
She got
And I was
too
like,
hot.
you did not have a heat stroke. She's like, yeah, I totally had a heat stroke. I'm like, no, heat stroke is pretty serious stuff. You probably would be a little sick, But she adamant, Jason knows where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
She was adamant that she had a heat stroke. And I was like, well, what were you doing? She says, I was playing mini golf.
Oh, God.
Like you were putt-putting. You had a fucking heat stroke while you were playing putt-putt. And she says, yeah. I'm like, well, what happened? She's like, well, I passed out. You passed out? Well, did you, hit the ball in the hole or anything when you passed out? And she says, no, I fell into a bush.
She fell into a bush.
Mini golfing.
There you go,
Mini
putt-putt.
golfing.
That's
And
pretty
she had a heat
serious.
stroke.
She said it was extreme mini golfing, whatever the hell that means.
Oh, man. I had a heat stroke playing extreme frisbee golf one time. Actually, I just got too hot and had to sit down, but you know how people overreact to these things. It's bullshit because, those people that are always like, I got food poisoning, but in all reality, they just ate fucking too much. It's ridiculous. They'll be like, I know that place gave me food poisoning. We sat down there and I was about halfway through my meal and I started getting really sick. And I've worked in
Got the
kitchens.
bronchitis.
Oh, Lord. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oh, yeah, aren't we cool staying with the trending videos that have been outdated for like a year and a half?
Proud moments are proud moments, man. I think she was Oklahoman.
Probably.
Speaking of being an Oklahoman, so I saw that article today I sent you, Ed.
Yeah?
And I'm just going to go ahead and throw a nice big fat what the fuck on that.
Oh, don't worry about it. The Purge, the Oklahoma Purge.
That is, if that's a real thing, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
It's kind of a real thing. I read another article about it about a week ago. And they interviewed a college student at OU, and she was all like, yeah, like, I didn't believe it at first, but it's totally a real thing. There's, like, an Instagram for it and everything. And I was like, yeah, this isn't happening. They're just going to get dressed up and drink. That's all that they're going to do.
What is this now?
The Oklahoma Purge.
Yeah, you know the movie The Purge, you know?
Yeah.
So supposedly a bunch of jackasses are getting together, and they've decided that that's going to be a real thing. At least that's the rumor. Like, and the police are. It's enough of a rumor the police are actually having to investigate it. But here's the thing: in that movie, that is the law. That's how the government's set up. You can't just decide, hey, we're going to have a fucking purge. It's not the same thing.
I think the idea is if they get enough of a mob behind it, the police will just sort of ignore it, you know?
Because that's what will happen.
Well, I mean, there's ways to get around it. I mean, if enough people wanted to do it, they'd just go do things like that and be gone before the cops get there. You know, it's just that simple. Is it like 7 minutes for police to respond to something?
Dude, your cat is really working itself right now.
Whatever's there is either gone for good or there to stay. What's wrong with the dog?
Just really going to town right now.
He really is. Well, you got to understand, he's been burned out since he was a kitten. So pretty much his life consists of being petted, being cuddled, and being prim and proper. Since he's had his cuddles and pets for today, it's time to be prim and proper and recharge for tomorrow's pets and cuddles. So about the Purge, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. There's going to be isolated incidents of vandalism, public drunkenness, and at least 3 hillbillies. That's kind of a slur on this. So at least 3 dumbasses that are going to be completely fucked up and try to do something illegal, and then they're going to tell the cops, well, it's the Purge. It was all over the internet. It's the law. And the cops are going to be like, you're fucking...
Oh, that's fascinating. Here's our jail cell.
Out of all the states that are going to try something like this, they're going to try it in Oklahoma. That's what
No. It's already been tried. 2 weeks ago, let me check the date on this. The first one was in Louisville, Kentucky, August 13th. I believe that was the day before we had our first podcast. So that tells you how big of a deal it actually was. And it was in Louisville, Kentucky. It was all over the news, all over the local news, radio, flyers, ignorance, all that good stuff. But pretty much the only thing that happened was bands of drunk people walking around dressed similarly to what's in the movie. So, I mean, that's about it.
Well, you know, after that, what was that stupid movie called? Project X. You know, there's a bunch of jackasses that tried to do that, too. A lot of them pretty much just got arrested.
Oh, yeah. Well, after that movie, A Clockwork Orange, I'm sure there was some British people out doing drugs and raping bitches. And, you know, it didn't start any movements. But I worry. I worry because this is Oklahoma, and we have a lot of meth-addled people and a lot of bath salt users. So we might have a bath salt zombie outbreak during the Purge. That would be something to see. I'd like to see that.
That's all right. You've got a lot of, I guess hillbilly's not the right term, but you got a lot of dudes with guns, so...
I was going to say, I live in Oklahoma, and if anybody came even close to my neighborhood, they would even make it out. There's no way.
No, I'm not discrediting that. I'm just talking about what people will attempt to do, because there's no fucking way they're going to make it out without a bullet in the ass. It sucks, though, because I live just down the street from the police station, so I'm not too concerned about that night here at my house, but I have to work that night, and I have to work in Canadian County, which is the county that the interview was based out of. So I worry about some, you know, purger trying to steal some copper because all crime's legal.
All crime's legal, so that's what I'm going after, is copper.
Hey, copper prices are skyrocketing. So it keeps me in a job.
By the way, I'm just going to go on record saying your freaking cat is killing me. Oh, it heard me.
No, I didn't hear you. It's looking at the ghost.
Oh, wait. Is it going back at it? No. Oh, no. Change its mind. It's done. It's done.
He's just readjusting. He's gonna go for his crotch, I bet.
So you told me that you wanted to talk about the River City Comic Expo.
I did?
You did.
When did I say that?
You said, hey, you're at the River City Comic Expo. We should definitely talk about that on the next podcast.
Yeah, you're right. I did say that. Hey, Philip, I heard you're at the River City Comic Expo.
Oh, really?
Since it's the next podcast, I was thinking you could tell us about it.
Well, it was in Little Rock, Arkansas. Clear Channel Metroplex, I think was what the place was called. It was a cool event, man. It was a one-day deal. Usually I do the conventions, but this was a little different. Expo is more of like a vendors kind of thing. But there was probably probably a good 100 vendors or something. And you had everything from there's probably 20 writers, good 20 artists, like comic book artists. There's comic book writers. There was people selling old action figures and the whole bit. Huge crowd, wonderful crowd. A lot of great cosplays, including Jason.
Yeah.
Potato sack Jason or that Jason? I thought you meant like Jason Voorhees.
No, I mean Jason on the podcast with us.
Yeah, I
okay.
just dressed up as Bane.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah, I dressed up as Bane. Figured it was a nice touch with the bald head and everything. And luckily, there was actually a Batman there, a Joker, and a Catwoman. And yeah, we got our pictures taken almost the entire time I was there. Plus, I got drug into a ice bucket challenge with a radio show host, which I guess he was challenged by someone else, so we had to go out there and dump ice water on him. He was doing some sort of...
He was cosplaying Santa with blood all over him. The radio DJ.
I see nothing wrong with that. I saw the pictures. I saw the plus-size Batman and all the other guys there. It looked pretty interesting. I wouldn't mind going to something like that. But then at the same time, I really would mind going to something
I know, you
like
you
that.
don't like to leave. Did you see the picture of the Ninja Turtle family?
Yes.
I loved the Ninja Turtle family. That was the coolest.
Have you seen the Ninja Turtles yet?
No, I haven't watched the new one yet.
My brother said it was okay at best.
That's what everybody keeps telling me. They keep telling me just to wait till it comes out on DVD. But you know what I did watch recently? Jason and I both actually watched all 3 of the original movies.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're still awesome.
You didn't watch
Maybe-
the straight-to-video 4th one?
Oh, the cartoon?
Well, I think it was...
They did a live
It had
action?
a chick in it. A female turtle made her debut.
Oh, no, I don't know about that business.
Yeah, well, it was straight-to-video, and I think it was live action. I could be wrong.
No, I bought a DVD and it had the 3 movies and then it had a cartoon like a CGI 4th one. I guess it was CGI. It was really good though. I was pretty impressed. But yeah, they were still fun to watch, man. It's weird. It's weird watching something like that because I haven't watched it since I was a kid. And so as soon as the first one starts, there's just every scene brings back all these crazy childhood memories. It was weird.
So did you watch the first one and then the second one when you were a child?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I have this weird thing with me, I guess personally, is I was too immature to watch Ninja Turtles 1 when it came out. I watched it with my brother and he was really into it, but I think I was too young to really enjoy the grim darkness of it. But then the second one came out, the Secret of the Ooze, and it was comic-y and campy enough that I loved the fuck out of it. So I always liked it better than the original one.
Really?
Yeah.
I loved
It's like that
the
with all
original.
3s, you know? The second one I always really loved, and then the third one always lacks, except Mass Effect. That's the only thing that's a trilogy that got it right on every single account.
Yeah, so I don't know what else there was really to say about River City, if there was anything else to tell you.
Well, did you meet anyone cool? Like any vendors or anything that will help further your career?
There's always a lot of cool people to meet. I bought a Wolverine toy.
Oh, yeah?
Because I'm not 27 years old.
Oh, I bought you that Wolverine poster, too.
Oh, yeah. Not even a poster. It's a full-size Wolverine cardboard cutout. That literally, I have a ginormous bed, right? And I didn't know where to put this thing, so it's literally just taking up the other side of my bed I don't sleep on.
I was laying down and covered up and everything?
I should. That would be funny. But no, Yeah, Jason got me this awesome freaking Wolverine cutout. And so the toy, though, I was walking around, my sister and I were walking around, or I guess, I don't remember, maybe Jason and I were walking around. Anyways, I saw this Wolverine toy. And when I was a kid, when the Wolverine, or not Wolverine, but the X-Men cartoon came out, I was quite obsessed. And naturally, I wanted X-Men toys. So I went and bought the Wolverine toy. Well, my mom bought for me the Wolverine toy. Took it home, super excited, played with him for 5 minutes and broke his arm. So back to the store we went for another one, which I got home, played with for 5 minutes and broke his arm. Now to be clear, this is, Wolverine in the yellow costume.
Yellow and blue, yeah.
Yeah. So I had a toy of him in the brown costume, but it had like limited mobility. And he didn't have the mask. I didn't have the mask was removable, and I didn't have the mask, which sucked. So getting the one in the yellow and blue costume was a big deal, for a 5-year-old or whatever I was. And so I went through probably 10 of these, every time breaking that stupid freaking arm off. And finally, my mom cut me off. She was like, "No more. I'm not buying you any more of these." So like, I tried to tape the arm on, but then it just kind of sucked. And so pretty much for the majority of my childhood, I did not get to have a toy of Wolverine in the yellow and blue costume. And I think I'm still damaged from that.
Yeah, you think you're like mentally scarred from
I
being
think that
cut off?
mentally freaking scarred me. No, but I was at the expo, I'm walking around, and I see that Wolverine toy, and I'm like, oh, man, I should buy that. And sitting right beside it is the Gambit toy, which I also broke. Not the arm, the leg off of. I literally played with a Gambit with one leg for most of my childhood.
From Toy Story.
And the Archangel I broke the wings off of when I was a kid, so I bought all 3 of them.
You're really rough on toys, weren't you?
I was pretty serious with my action figures.
Got real.
Who the hell is texting me at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Well, they are action figures. They're supposed to be able to keep up with G.I. Joe.
I got a rant from Brandon about what I should talk about on the podcast, but I don't think it's going on. I don't think we're going to talk about that.
Well, let's give a moment of silence. We'll let you do the rant, and then we'll give a moment of silence, and then we'll cut it.
Okay, so moment of silence now.
It's probably not getting cut, by the way.
I'm probably not going to tell it then.
Well, fine. Fuck it.
I'm almost curious what the hell it is. What is it?
I am curious, and so is our listeners. This is the internet, my friend.
Let's hear it, Phil. Let's hear it.
That's...
Howard Stern can say whatever he wants, so can we.
Yeah, no.
All right. I didn't think this was the Big Vagina podcast, but that's cool.
This podcast coming.
I had a yellow Wolverine toy when I was a child. We got it at KB Toys, and I didn't break the arm off of it. I had it for many years, actually. I had it long enough to where the paint wore off of it, and I eventually ran it over with a lawnmower.
Oh, you know what? That actually reminds me, Ed. Fuck you.
Oh.
You guys remember the X-Men toys that had like the projectors in their chest? Did you ever get one of those?
I do. I remember those. I hated them.
I had a Wolverine that had like the project. You hated it.
I did.
Why?
Were they like the foot-tall plastic toys?
Yeah, they were like, I don't know if they were a foot, but I'd say that they were probably 9-10 inches or something. But they had like this projector in their chest and like projected pictures in the dark on your wall and stuff.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about it was too big to play with the other X-Men. I mean, I guess if you had you want a giant Wolverine.
Yeah, I didn't have many X-Men toys. I think the big thing whenever I was younger was to have the Terminator toys.
Oh,
I've never seen Terminator toys.
Oh yeah, they had the liquid, what was it, T-1000. They would actually explode, and then you could like put them back together again. And then the original Terminator that Arnold played, like they had like a spot on the top of the head where sunlight came through, and it actually turned its eyes red.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Hey, speaking of old movies, Jason, since you're on the podcast, and you weren't on here last time. Ed had a really enthralling whole spiel about Raiders of the Lost Ark. Would you care to go back into that again?
Sure. Essentially, my wife, who had never seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, wanted to watch it because, well, she likes Han Solo, and it carries over, right? So we watched it. It was pretty good.
That's the whole thing.
That was the spiel.
That was the rant, yep. Well, we recently also watched Alien, and it was her first time to watch Alien, and she liked that a lot better. I mean, who wouldn't?
Like the original with Sigourney Weaver and...
Yeah, Alien, the
Oh,
original,
wow.
the best one.
I used to ask random strangers if they thought I looked like Sigourney Weaver.
Oh yeah?
Oh, my God.
I would. When I was at work, I'd go up to random customers and I would be like, "Hey, do you think I look like Sigourney Weaver?"
Wow, I can't believe you didn't get arrested.
You know how many people? You know how many people were actually like, I could see it maybe if you shaved your head.
She got more action once she got her shaved head than in any other of the movies.
So I finally got around to watching the newest Spider-Man and the newest Captain America this past weekend.
Well, Spider-Man can lick my behind, but how was Captain America?
You didn't like Spider-Man?
Well, I just haven't got into the new trilogy.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, you think so?
The only thing I don't like, I don't like how the villains look. Like I'm not really impressed with what they've done with the villains, but I think story-wise and action-wise, they've done a pretty good job.
The guys they had playing the villains, they did an awesome job, I thought. But
Yeah,
I'm with you on the costumes; they were kind of lame. But the new trilogy, if you get a chance, Ed, you should watch it because it at least makes up for the old one a little bit.
Man,
I mean, it's worth a watch.
it's hard for me to watch movies. It really has to jump out and grab me by the snarglies for me to watch movies anymore. Because it's like the entire time I'm sitting there thinking, I could be playing a game right now.
I have that same. It's really hard for me to sit down and watch a movie because there's usually just too much stuff going on for me that I need to do. But yeah, I watched both of those this week, and they're good. Captain America was really good. The answer to your earlier question.
I really liked the first one. I thought it was pretty good.
I like this one considerably more.
Yeah, well, that's good. Let's see, what's the last thing I had watched? I watched Evil Dead, the remake again, on Blu-ray this time, and it's amazing on Blu-ray. Better than when I saw it in the theater. Like, there's at one point where one of the chicks pees herself because she gets taken over by the demon, so she just pisses all over the floor. And on Blu-ray, you could see the steam rising up off of the piss off the floor, and I was like, damn, that's detailed as hell.
It's the little things.
It's
The little things in life.
Like when she cuts her face off, you can see little parts of, we just don't need to get into it.
Kind of want to hear it. This is the new one they just did?
Yeah, you haven't seen it?
I think I have, but I don't think it stuck out to me though, because I'm a big fan of the old ones, especially Army of Darkness. I love those movies.
Yeah. Are you one of those people that's like, it's a reboot, therefore it sucks?
Well, I haven't seen many reboots that have been that great. The Spider-Man thing, it was a little better. I wouldn't say it's the best thing I've ever seen. And the Batmans, I don't know. I still don't see them as what Michael Keaton did. I still love those movies, I think, better.
Well, I can agree with you on those. I think the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was like years ahead of the live-action still picture Spider-Man that came before it. Probably not as good as any of the cartoons. As far as Evil Dead goes, people talk shit on it simply because it's a reboot, but it's awesome. Like everyone's like, I want Bruce Campbell in it, but you really don't. He would be this creepy old perv hanging out with teenagers who would all get killed if he was in the movie, so you really don't want him in it. It would be like that one Bruce Campbell movie where he was a creepy old perv.
I agree. But still, the old ones are still good, even though the special effects are god-awful. I don't know if you've watched any of the DVDs since pictures gotten better since VHS. Oh, my God. Some of the special effects they come up with, oh, my God, they're horrible.
My brother has, like, every DVD edition of Evil Dead and the VHSs. He's obsessed with them. I really like the first one more than the second one. A lot of people love the second one, but I prefer the first one, if anything. But
Yeah, the first one was
I'm also
great.
weird because I like the new Halloween, the newest one by Rob Zombie, way better
Oh,
than
yeah.
the original.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like it too. Yeah.
Shit. No, it's not shit. It's awesome.
No,
It's
you know why?
about this guy.
You know why it's better? The reason it's better is because if you look at the old Halloween movies, Michael Myers just pretty much walks places and stabs people. I feel like if there's a dude walking towards me with a knife, I might run, and then you just get away from him because he would appear someplace magically afterwards, but he pretty much just walked. And this new Michael Myers, kind of just plows through walls and shit. It's much more intimidating.
You remember the thing about that, Phil, was that you had to watch the actual unrated version of that movie to actually see him going through walls and stuff. Because I think they cut out that entire part if you just watch the regular version of Halloween.
That sounds right. I think I remember something about that.
Yeah, they cut out a big chunk of that movie, and the coolest part of it was when he was plowing through the walls and hits the girl off the side of the second floor.
Yeah.
And you didn't actually get to see any of that actually happen unless you were watching the unrated version of the movie.
No, it's such a good movie.
Yeah, I actually dug it because I don't really I'm not that into horror movies because I just get bored with them. Because
Wow. I thought we were friends.
It just usually amounts to just people being stupid. Hey,
well,
I'll watch Tucker and Dale vs. Evil any day.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that.
So
The reason
good.
I prefer horror movies is because there's no drama. It's just simple, clean killing. Yeah. There's no political overtones or boring
Hey, I love
stories. It's just fucking and murdering.
I love Slither too. That's up there for me.
I have not seen that.
Oh
I saw
man,
Splice, but that's
You
clearly different.
you should do Slither. It's Nathan Fillion. It's good.
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah,
And the new Nightmare on Elm Street I thought was amazing, but we
I haven't
get on
watched
horror
it.
Movies. It's awesome.
Yeah, you have.
have I?
Yeah, we watched a really shitty version of it though.
Oh,
Oh.
We need to rewatch that though, because I think it would have been better.
I don't remember. I may not have been sober.
Have you guys seen the Hatchet movies?
Hatchet. I don't think so.
Hey, actually,
Um,
since we're on the whole horror movie thing right now, I was going to mention something. Keep talking. I'll find it. Hold on.
Okay. Well, Hatchet's awesome. They're fairly new-ish, and there's 3 of them, and it's just old school slasher, and it
Nice.
takes place in Louisiana, and it's a bunch of hillbillies. I guess there's no hillbillies in Louisiana. I guess it's more like Baton Rouge rats. I don't know. I don't know
Well,
any
put
good
it-
slurs.
Put
for
it
that.
on my list then. Have you seen? What's your thoughts on The Hills Have Eyes? Seen
I
that?
enjoy them for what they are. I don't necessarily like the original Hills Have Eyes 2 because it was just a little out there, but
Mhm.
I think it's cultural with the times. So a lot of those older movies would be easier to stomach if I didn't experience any of the newer movies. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I
Yeah.
enjoyed. I thought the newer remake of it, 2003, I guess, was a better movie than the original one, even though there's all the nostalgia behind it. And Friday the 13th, the new one, was good, but the dickhead, the douchebag rich boy, he just turns me off from the movie. He starts talking and I just zone out. I'm like, this sucks. I hate this douchebag. If I was here in real life, I'd kill him.
Wasn't the guy that they had playing Freddy Krueger in that one? Wasn't he the same guy that played in that superhero movie? What am I trying to think of? The Watchmen. He played was it Rorschach?
I wouldn't know. I've never seen that.
You should watch that. I think the guy that plays Rorschach in that, I think he is the same guy that actually plays Freddy Krueger in the new Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'll check that out. I'll look into that.
Plus,
I know that-
Watchmen is actually a pretty good movie. It got a lot of bad reviews and stuff, but I thought it was pretty good.
I've heard mixed praise. One of the cool things, though, about people who were in other things is Hatchet 3, the newest one, has a... Okay, the guy who plays the main villain, the main bad guy in that, is Kane Hodder. He was Jason for Jason 6, 7, and 8, and then they changed him out. Well, then the guy who plays the new Jason... No, not the new Jason. Freddy versus Jason. You guys see Freddy versus Jason?
I did, yeah.
Okay, well, the guy who plays Jason on him is the main SWAT guy that's trying to take him down. So it's like Jason versus Jason, and it's awesome.
All right, so I got a thing from a friend the other day. A guy who writes reviews sent it to me. Sent it to me. A friend of his who makes movies apparently is having something of a hard time. I don't really know what's going on, but he directs low-budget horror films. So if anybody is into low-budget slasher flicks, I guess, his movies are Homicidal Maniac 1 and 2. And then I guess they have a DVD of short films, and it's through, I had it just a second ago, Zoltarian Entertainment. So if anybody's feeling hospitable, that's not the right word, not hospitable, charitable, and you like low-budget slasher films, look up Homicidal Maniac 1 and 2 and by Zoltarian Entertainment. And this guy can use some help. So, yeah, I'm going to buy them.
I love low-budget horror films.
I understand they're cheap. I haven't actually gone to buy them yet, so I don't know what they cost, but I was going to buy them and check them out.
Hell yeah.
Silence. Yeah. Why did it get silent?
We're going to have to bring the energy level up.
Just hit like a... So I tried to get Ed to play fantasy football with me this year, but he wouldn't go for it.
No, sir.
I told him it was like Dungeons and Dragons with real-life people, and that still couldn't sell him on it.
No, because I can't get enough people together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not going to settle for the jock version of it.
So, favorite thing, though, about fantasy football are team names.
Yeah, what's your team name?
I have the Philanthropist and Phil's Pants Party. And
Phil's Pillow Party?
There's another one in my league. It literally almost had me in tears. Trim Reggie's Bush. Because there's a football player named Reggie Bush. But one of the other best ones was a little bit of like a Pokemon reference. And there's a football player named Jamal Charles who's really big. And the guy named his team Gotta Catch Jamal. That was pretty good.
Oh, boy. You know, I couldn't tell you anything about football or who hits the most home runs or which goalie's the best, but I understand a lot of people enjoy fantasy football.
It's actually, cool. Yeah, so I've never been a big, like, NFL guy. Never really, I mean, I always liked football, but I've never really been into it. Last year they conned me into playing, and it actually ended up being a lot of fun, so I'm playing again this year.
Well, rock and roll. Jason, do you play?
This will be my first year. They talked me into it, and I'm like you. I don't know anything about anything sports-wise.
Yeah, that's so stereotypical of us nerds. It's always like, sports, girls. Okay.
You're one of those ladies.
Yeah, but I'm going to give it a try this year, see how it goes. They're supposed to help me out with this, so see what happens.
Hell yeah. A lot of people like it, and that's cool. Rock on. More power to them. I can't do it.
So, Ed, after the last podcast, guess what I got inspired to go do?
Baseball batting mailboxes from your passenger window.
No. And actually, let me just throw out for the record, I never did that even when I was a teenager. I always thought that was the stupidest thing. Like, what? Why? Why do you want to bash a mailbox?
Yeah, what is this, the 50s?
What? Do you not have guns or something? You can go shoot in a field? You want to bash
there's not
a
always
mailbox?
a field, but there's always a mailbox.
Oh my god, it's so stupid. You know what was funny, though, is I remember some people I knew whenever I was a teenager, and kids kept bashing their mailbox, right? So they built this, like, really nice, like, enclosure for it so it couldn't get bashed. And the kids apparently decided they weren't going to be beat, so they must have wrapped a chain around it or something and just ripped it out of the ground completely and stole it.
Nice. Talk about being dedicated.
Yeah. Good thing they didn't put that much dedication into their homework.
Well, what's homework going to do for you? To this day, I do not use geometry on a regular basis.
I give you that. I try not to add things as much as possible. So what I was going to say was, we talked about David. Did we talk about David Gemmell on the last podcast? I felt like we did.
We talked about Waylander.
Okay, so I went and read The Quest for Lost Heroes again.
Oh, I love that book.
Oh, it's so good.
I was supposed
So-
to do a midterm over The Two Towers in the 10th grade, and instead I did it over Tale of Quest for Lost Heroes. And
so good.
I was very graphic about some of the things that happen in it, and the teacher was like, well, you're going to get an A because it's really well written, but do you think that the subject material was really what you should have done? It's like, well, there is no raping, boobs, or kidnapping in any of Tolkien's books, unless you count the two Hobbits, and I don't.
Hey, when I was in high school, we had to write a short story for English class, and I wrote a short story in which our teacher became a monster and tried to kill all of us, and one of the kids in class shot her and killed her.
Oh, boy.
And I thought for sure that I was gonna I was gonna get suspended at the very least, but
I take it you weren't the teacher's pet then. That's what I'm gathering out of this.
actually, very surprisingly, she gave me an A.
Holy crap.
Well, you got to appreciate that.
She told me she thought it was very well written and creative.
Oh my god. Dude, I had to write a paper one time, 2,000 words. Right, they wanted us to write, what would we change about racism, what we learned from the Holocaust?
Wow, that does not sound
Yeah, right? I could sum that up in a sentence, and I'm supposed to come up with like 2,000 words about, okay.
You know, I did I wouldn't have done somebody's homework for them because that's not cool, but if I had done somebody's homework for them, I might have written a paper. It was like a 10-page freaking essay about Roman's view of love and marriage versus the view of love and marriage in the United States. I'm going to talk about having to pull some stuff out of nowhere. Dear
Really?
God.
Is it modern Romans or like Boy Lover, Sistine Chapel Romans?
No, like Boy Lover, Sistine Chapel, Romans.
Not even the same time period, but okay.
Yeah, the Sistine Chapel is not. You said it, and then as I was repeating it, I was like, he's not right about what he said. Now I'm saying it, and we're both not right.
But at least we both caught ourselves.
I ain't learned too much of nothing at school, but I tell you this, if that dang Socrates was so smart, how come he done drank the poison? Because he knew it was poison. That ain't smart at all. He's dumb son of a bitch. Yeah, that's right. I just made fun of Socrates in a hillbilly accent. That's talent, is what that is.
That is great. You should be commended for that.
Damn Socrates, thinking he's so smart.
So, all chattery up on that tree.
All chattery up in that tree. Wally nuts, blasted the tar out of him. Yeah, that's right. We just did a Socrates joke and pulled lines from Squidbillies. That's why you're listening to this podcast, folks. It's quality.
Oh, Squidbillies. Truck nuts. Tugboat truck.
Tugboat truck.
Swayze crazy.
Do the moon dance. Do the moon.
Wash the truck. But don't touch the boat. That's my son bitchin' boat.
Shouldn't that fish be in water? Yeah, maybe if he was the one calling the shots. Oh my god, that's one of my favorite shows. So good.
I love it.
Rusty, touch your wiener.
But I don't want to go to heaven, Daddy. I want to stay down here with you. So, Squidbillies.
That was a really good rustle.
Was it?
Yeah, I thought so. This rum has got me sweating like a whore.
Careful, your cat will get a hold of you next.
Oh, he knows I stink. He knows I don't taste good.
I had a major accomplishment in the writing world since the last podcast. It's very, very exciting. I feel like I've made it now.
Yeah? Did you get recognized?
Yeah, something big happened.
What is it?
I got a Candy Crush invite on Facebook from my publisher. I feel like that's the sign that you've made it.
Wow. Well, more power to you.
I did have another short. I had a short story release. I don't know if it was out from the last time we did the podcast. Zev Moon, the sci-fi werewolf story.
See, I thought that looked really interesting, mainly
Yeah,
because of the guys in the armor on the cover.
Yeah, I liked that cover they came up with. That I thought that was cool. Very
I
pleased.
like how you have nothing to do with any of your covers. You're just like, yeah, that's okay.
Some of them I
whatever
do.
they did.
Some of them I do, but I've been really lucky, really pleased with all the covers that I haven't had control of. They've all been really wonderful.
Indeed. I actually have Assassins Incorporated right here.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. It's quite the cover. The first thing I noticed was like, that looks like a robot's eye right there. And then I read it and it was like, oh, he does have a robot eye. Spoiler.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite cover that I had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
Well, I
was
did
gonna
get to
ask you.
choose. They let me choose the artist for that one. That was pretty neat. Because normally, in most publishers don't even let you do that, but I did get to choose, and I was floored when I saw that.
What's your least favorite cover that you had nothing to do with?
It would be hard to choose one because I really have been very happy with all of them. Which one do you like the least?
Well, I mean, I feel like that's what you have to say for marketing reasons. And
Yeah, well,
it's a
you're right,
move
but
of me to even bring it up.
that's still my honest answer.
It's probably the one in my back of my bald head on the front.
Well, that one was
Leah from
actually
Mars?
yeah, but that one's been redone, and that was me. I had control of that cover, which is why it turned out so awful. But
I
now
wouldn't
it's
say awful. I think that in 30 years, when people find your stuff at a thrift store and they're like, look at this, it's an original print of Philip Dreyer Duncan. Look, see that back of that head?
back at Jason's head.
That head just pops.
This head
Basically cover
alone
pop.
makes it worth millions.
So, you're talking about school, and it reminded me of what I got in school suspension for when I was in high school. And I figured you'd appreciate this, Ed. So, I got elected science club president,
Oh, hell.
which
Science?
was weird.
They elected you to lead them?
Yeah, and then I recruited over 100 members to the science club.
So what you're saying is
feel
there's
like
no
this-
physicists coming out.
I feel like that was a record. But what I didn't plan on was that I was going to have to do a lot of work because I was the science club president. So one of the things we did is we ran a canned food drive for charity, right? So, all the teachers throughout the whole high school were giving people bonus points for bringing in these cans. So during one of my class periods, when I was actually in science class, I got to take like 6 other guys, and we, went around the school and collected these cans. And then we took these cans that we were supposed to be collecting for charity, and we took them back to our own teachers for bonus points. And then just, walked right in behind ourselves and collected them again. So the sad part here is, like, I honestly didn't actually run that scam on any of my teachers myself, except for one, and I did it as a joke because she was kind of young, and I thought she would find it funny.
You had a crush on her?
No, she's just
Picking on the young
I don't-
girls? Is that what you do?
yeah. I figured she had a sense of humor. I was wrong, and it wasn't so much that she didn't have a sense of humor, is that she didn't get that she was being messed with when I walked in there with 100 cans, and then another guy walked in right behind me with another, and they had other kids' initials on them and shit, So she proceeds in the middle of her classroom. Every student in there is like, holy shit, she is actually counting up all of those cans and writing our bonus points down, and I'm like, she's really believes this is a thing. I look at the guy beside me and kind of shrug. We're like, let's ride this out. As we walk out the door, the other...
That's where the ISS comes in, where he makes the decision. Let's ride it out.
Right?
So as I'm walking out the door, the other guys who are coming along behind us, supposed to be collecting cans, they have a huge cart with over 1,000 cans on them, and they push it in there and say, she's like, oh, are you guys here to collect cans? They're like, no, these are the cans we're bringing for bonus points. and she starts counting the cans off of their cart, and there was literally probably 1,000 cans. And I don't
Wow.
know, how far she counted, but yeah, I got in a lot of trouble over that ordeal.
Wow. Why you? Because you're the fall guy?
Yeah, well, I think the word ringleader was used. I'm not sure.
Well, you are the science club president.
So my science teacher was super angry, but at the same time, she told the principal she would handle disciplining us herself and didn't want us to get suspended. So, or the in-school suspension. Well, they gave us in-school suspension anyways, and then she punished us. She made those of us that got caught sit in the front of the room and copy out of the textbook while they played with, like, race cars behind us, and she laughed all day like a maniac. But she got her real revenge at the end of the school year. We were supposed to be involved in this Missouri stream thing, and one of the other guys was supposed to be heading that, and I didn't really keep track at all. I didn't care, and I guess he did some of it, but not really as much as he was supposed to. Well, we get called to her classroom, like the calls from the intercom. They're like, you need to go see this teacher, you know. So me and him run down there, and she's like, hey guys, you got that meeting this morning. And we're like, what meeting are you talking about? So you're supposed to go down to Pineville, and you guys are supposed to be speaking in front of a group about our efforts on Missouri streams. And I'm like, I don't really know what the fuck you're talking about. She's like, well, you're the president, so figure it out. And we're like, seriously, who are we talking in front of? And she's like, oh, it's just a couple of people from, you know, these little groups. Not a big deal. They're going to donate us some money for our science club because we did this. So just go down there, you know, say a few nice words, and they're going to give you a check. It's no big deal. If they want you to actually speak, here's a folder that's got all the information in it. You know, so I guess the part I guess we actually did what we were supposed to do. I just didn't know about it, and the other guy didn't really know as much as he was supposed to know either. So we were like, okay, whatever, no big deal. We go jump in his car, we drive down to the river where this is happening, and get out to find ourselves standing in front of like 100 people. Missouri Conservation's there. All kinds of scientists from different universities, and I mean, it was like a big deal.
That's great. I could just see like a deer in headlights.
So I'm like, holy shit. And the other guy's like, he's like, what do we do? And I'm like, open the notebook. Open the folder. She said she had stuff in there for us. So he opens the folder, and it says, ha, 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 ha. And so we get out in front of, I mean, there was like state representatives there. I'm talking like 100 people, and they're like wanting us to give a speech. We're supposed to give a big speech, and we just had to wing it. We had to write it out, so to speak.
Right all the way down.
But at the end of the day, they gave us a check, and we got to go on a field trip, so I guess it was worth it. But we walked back into that classroom after that meeting, both just fuming mad, and we storm into her class. She's in the middle of class. She turns and looks at us and just dies laughing, like can't get a straight face for like 20 minutes. So I guess she got her revenge in the end.
That's great. You got to appreciate a teacher who's willing to crucify their students. Nothing teaches a lesson like a public shunning.
God, I was surprised they even gave you the check. Wish I had actually seen a copy of a video or something of that speech.
You know, they were
That would have been great.
They were a little hesitant. I mean, we kind of had to, kind of pry it out of the guy's hand. So, Edward, are we at the where are we at time-wise?
About an hour-ish.
Is that where we want to be?
Well, are you guys tired? Are you wanting to end this? Are you hinting at getting out of here?
No, I just thought I thought we were shooting for an hour.
If you want
That
to
was
do
the
an
goal.
hour, that's fine.
Did you want to do more, Edward?
Hour and a half's good with me.
So, you want to ramble for another 30 minutes?
I'm easy, okay? I'm like
well, I know that.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, I'm here, man. Last night I dropped the ball and fell asleep. I woke up like 3 hours later in my chair, and TV was still going. I was like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, Phil was sitting here. He's like, oh, his phone says he's on. Wait, now he's off. Wait, now he's back on.
Yeah, it was weird, man. because I pulled you up on Facebook to message you there too, and like on the side it'll say, if somebody's on their mobile. So like when I first got on there, it said you were on your mobile, and I sent you the message. I was like, well, it's wait a few minutes. So I waited like 10 minutes, and I was about to give up, but then I looked over and it said web, which meant usually is supposed to mean you're on your computer, and I was like, oh, he must be getting on his computer right now, so let's just wait a minute. And then after like another 10 minutes, it said he's been away for 10 minutes, and I was like, well, what the hell is that? And then all of a sudden it said mobile again, like you were on. I was like, is he having technical difficulties? I finally gave up after like 30 minutes.
You should have called me. You can call me anytime you need to get a hold of me. Feel free to call me, because that would have woke me up. The reason it probably showed I was online is because my phone activated to tell me that I got a message from you on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, probably so.
Then it took like 5 minutes for it to go back into sleep mode, but then, you texted me again, and that showed it.
Yeah, you're probably right. I was probably doing that to myself the entire time.
Yeah, and you're probably cussing me like I'm some bastard. I mean, I tried to stay up. We had a lot going on yesterday. We moved our house around, and then, expended a lot of energy yesterday. So I think the last thing I remember, it was about 12 o'clock, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to put on Mythbusters because there's nothing much else on. And it just played through Mythbusters on Netflix as I slept in the chair, I guess. I woke up at, 3:30. I was like, oh, shit, I'm going to bed.
See, now you're making me tired talking about going to sleep.
Sleep. You got a cardboard cutout of Wolverine. I would love to have a cardboard cutout of myself. I think that would just be the coolest thing in the world.
That would be cool. I wonder if we can get those somewhere.
I'm sure we can. I
should get one.
I want one.
It'd be really good if I got a cardboard cutout of myself to take to conventions. It's just no logos or anything, just a cardboard cutout of me to put right behind my table.
You'd be like Richard Castle or something, just have the sunglasses on.
Yeah, like have me in a suit. Get like two of them, one with me in a suit, and then one with me in like a really awkward like cowboy costume or something.
Chaps and everything.
That like get extra copies, and when people aren't looking, go push them behind their tables,
Right. That'd be great. See, what you could do is just completely dress like you normally dress, but then get a guy who has a similar build to you to dress completely pretentious and douchebaggy, and see who mistakes him for the author. Just both of you sit at the table silently and see how many questions get passed towards him.
So Ed, when we went to Little Rock, we went into this restaurant. It was called Ray's Not Tex-Mex or something like that. Anyways, my sister was wearing her OU t-shirt, and when we walked in, this guy stands up and he's like, "Oh my God!" and points at us. And we're all like, what the fuck just happened? What is happening now? And he runs up and he hugs my sister. And we're like, what is going on? And then I see he's wearing an OU shirt. And that's what it was. He was an OU fan. And apparently, living in Little Rock for the last few months, we were the first OU fans he's seen. And was just completely flabbergasted.
I would be fucking furious. If someone just ran up and touched me, I would be.
I think he asked permission. I think he did ask permission, but it was strange. It was a strange occurrence.
Last time someone tried to touch me, they got put on the ground.
And that was my wife.
No. No, I mean a stranger. My wife touches me all the time.
I don't need to know about that. Hey, when are we going to have your wife on the podcast so I can meet her?
I'm not comfortable going from talking about my wife touching me to you asking to meet my wife. That's not comfortable.
Why? That's a natural conversation transition.
Is it? Nah.
No. You would know this if you got out of the house more.
No. See, you're just making it easier for me to stay in the house because you're telling me that if I left the house, I'd have to learn things. I'd have to change my daily routine. I'd have to put pants on? No, we're good.
Wait, are you telling me this whole time you're not wearing pants right now?
I have pants type cloth on.
Well, let's not delve into that. I don't feel like I need any more information on that front.
Like you're wearing clothes.
No, I feel like podcasts should always be done in the nude,
Well, if you're not nude, you're not podcasting.
which is awkward because, as mentioned previously, Jason and I are both in the same room.
Yeah, but it seems like you guys have that kind of relationship where it's not like you're looking at each other's dinks.
Well, I mean, he did grab my ass that one time.
Hello.
Hello?
All right, then. All right.
Should have been like, nope, that's Philo.
You know what one of my friends used to call me when I was a really little kid? Even before I knew you, Ed. My friend used to call me Philip Me Crevice.
Philip Me Crevice?
Philip Me Crevice. Which I think I actually used that in Assassin's Inc., didn't I?
I haven't got to it yet.
Oh, I think I used that name in there.
Oh, yes, you did, but I read it as McRevis.
Oh,
Yeah, I was like,
You-
Philip McGrievous. Like, it's kind of like General Grievous off Star Wars. I could see where that guy would do that.
so hey, I got a new review on Van. Weren't you telling me you were getting ready to get Vanguard?
Yes, I was getting ready to.
So I got a new review on it. Oh, you
Yeah.
saw that because you shared it on my Facebook page.
Yes, I did.
Which I
also
appreciate
shared
that, by
a
the way.
video of you interviewing with the newscaster with everyone I know.
Oh yeah, Alan Matthews.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was fun.
Talk
yeah,
about
he
pulling
is-
it out of your ass.
Yeah, okay, so everybody gives me grief about how that thing started. Because everybody's like, well, at first we thought you were like really nervous because he asked you a question and you didn't really say much. I'm like, yeah, but he kind of opened it with like a yes or no question. I didn't realize, there was I was supposed to follow up further on that. I guess my bad still, but it wasn't. It was
It
the
was
only
a
thing.
learning experience.
Very much so. The only thing about that interview that I had a hard time with is before I went in, the night before, one of my other friends was like, made a joke from was it Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights when he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands, and I made the joke back to him that when I got in there, that probably would be my problem. I wouldn't know what to do with my hands, and I'll be goddamn if when they didn't start counting down to that we were going live on the air, it suddenly occurred to me, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Mm.
So that
What'd
was
you do
the
with your
only.
hands? You like
I just put
had one half in your pocket, and you had one sort of holding your balance up. It looked like you were about to pass out. It was great. Of course, like everyone who's seen it was like, "Oh, good for him. He's doing good for himself." It takes a real friend to be like, "Look at that jackass." My dad was like, "Is that the Philip that used to live next to us? Oh man."
He's turned out to be a real jackass.
Nope. I think they judge me. I think they're like, "What have you done?" Like you clearly grew up with people that did something with their life. What have you done? So it's terrible.
So you started a podcast.
Yeah. I actually have several podcasts going on.
So I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this Vanguard review that I got the other day. Yeah.
You just
did
told
you read it?
Was that a question? Yeah, go for it.
All right. Philip Dreyer Duncan's post-apocalyptic thriller introduces us to a hard-boiled loner badass with a conscience, a hammer-wielding dude named Van, short for Vanguard. He's got that name because that is exactly his function for a small cave-dwelling society holed up underground near his home. He is in their world but not of it. Van and the cave dwellers have a nervous, albeit mostly trusting truce. Their peace-loving ways make them particularly vulnerable, and it salves his scorched soul just a little to help them. And since they benefit from his services, they reciprocate in their way. It's symbiosis. I can't talk. Sorry, I'm reading this on a cell phone and it's kind of small. Can I make it bigger? Oh, hey, I can. but now it doesn't all fit in the screen. It's symbiosis in a shattered world, several years after the fall began, the end of the world as we knew it. In his desolate world of technological setbacks, bullets beat gold in value, and the rebuilding of society is still shaky-legged infant. A sort of future western minus the laser guns morphs into a sci-horror adventure with mystery, twist, and brain-bending answers. This tech-challenged society plagued by lawlessness as well as the sheer struggle for survival find itself in even worse shape when the mysterious hellhounds, Jesus, I can't talk, a vicious band of animalistic but anthropomorphic, God, I can't even talk at all. The sites of their slaughters are veritable outdoor, I don't even know what that word is, I'm dumb, abattoirs with gore-soaked ground and the scattered litterings of body parts. What the fuck are these things? Slavering demons or lycanthropic threats? They are not what they seem. Even when Van strips away the first layer of mystery, he is left with more questions than answers, and though he does not know it, they are still more than they seem. But how so? The perusal of this short but bloody and action-packed novel will bring you and Van all the answers you collectively seek. It's fast-paced, rich with colorful characters, skillfully story-dense in a small page count, and laced with exuberant creativity that is part and parcel of Duncan's unique voice. That was
Duncan's unique voice. That's quite high praise.
I was pretty stoked about that review. This is very good. In fact, I need to hunt this dude down and just have him write the summaries for my books, because that was amazing.
Yeah, and if you could get him to do the podcast descriptions as well, that'd be cool. Well, you know how I told you I've been writing into that other podcast with my poo crimes? That's
yes.
What it is. It's like people write in and they describe horrible acts of poo-ness that they stumble across or do themselves. So I'm going to read you the first letter I ever sent them. They quoted me on this letter as being the greatest writer ever. It's great. It starts as Dear John, Mo, and esteemed guest for the week. You may call me Eduardo, and I am a long-time friend. This is my first time writing into the show. They laughed at that too. I'm not sure why I have remained some creepy lurking listener for so long. If I were to force a guess, I would say that it's because I've taken the stance that you guys are simply the entertainment. Celebrities in your own fashion who, let's be honest, truly give zero rat's asses about one more faceless dickhole sitting at home in a dark room with his headphones on, listening to years' worth of podcasts made by a few total strangers as if they're his best friends in the world or some shit. That being said, I love your podcast. You can rest assured that I have photoshopped every single image I am able to find of you guys on the internet to look as if we are hanging out. I was once told by my therapist that this is an unnatural kind of enjoyment that I take in our weekly antics together. So I fired that bitch. She was a mouthy twat with saggy tits, and we don't need her negativity, do we, guys? As well, I will never forget that day we spent together at Whitewater Bay last summer. It was magical. All pleasantries aside, I am writing today to inform you of a poo crime. Sadly, I am the red-handed culprit responsible for said horrendous deuce, which so nearly cost me my equally shitty job. The year was 2007. I was 20. It was my 21st year on this earth, and since I had decided marriage and work was more applicable than college at the time, I had to spend this particular year as a landscaper. In all honesty, it wasn't a bad gig, if you can get past the hot Oklahoma days, the filthy 7-Eleven lunches, and enough cheap beer to cause the liver of a young man to just give up on life and call it a day. At the time, and still to this day, I had a dream of putting together a review-style blog of every bathroom I've ever popped a squat in. For intellectual purposes, mind you, I don't have some sick fetish. So anyway, one particularly hot July day, the crew and I had just finished a payday-sized lunch consisting of a 12-pack of Natural Light and multiple jalapeno double microwave cheeseburgers, the ones you find wrapped in plastic under the microwave burritos at most 7-Elevens. I had felt fine at the time, but as time crept by, I began to feel a churning in the pit of my stomach, and suddenly I knew that there was something horrible headed for the off-ramp to, as they say, the Hershey Highway. I clinched like the Dickens and waddled in that unmistakable I'm gonna shit my britches way to the front office, where I asked the office ladies if there were facilities I could make use of. Now look, guys, I'm not sure where these girls grew up, or if anyone had ever taught these stuck-up twats to use common sense, but when a visibly overweight, half-drunk landscaper waddles with locked knees into the office reeking of either grass clippings or hefty amounts of marijuana, asking for a bathroom, then it stands to good reason that he's going to blow that bitch sky high. And I did. The opening log was the sharp, painful kind, the kind that can be compared to childbirth, the kind that you can only work your way through using Lamaze breaths, counting backwards from 10 and then pushing real hard. The kind of turd that by the time your infant-sized dump splashes down and creates what I refer to as the Oklahoma bidet, your shit slicer is so stretched like a German Gabe video, and the rest of the creamy splats fall like that hurricane that damn near decimated the poor Oriental country. Sadly, the heavenly relief I felt in the pit of my stomach after being rid of Hurricane Brownish Green Betty was overshadowed by the horrible stench that would curl your nose hairs. Even my 2 courtesy flushes did nothing to aid the office in this, what can only be called biological warfare. When I walked out of the office, I noticed that the girls seemed rather pale and had a very difficult time making eye contact with me. I thanked them politely and went back to work. Of course, since I had just marinated in the foulness, I could not tell that the smell had bled through the walls, and later that day, as I was getting ready to go home, the owner of the company informed me that I was to never, under any circumstances, use another client's restroom. I'd almost lost him that contract, and the only reason I still had that job is that I was always on time, I never called in, and I had a license to drive his fleet of illegal immigrant workers from place to place, making him that money. I'm sure I could have sued as well for some sort of mental damages, or collected unemployment at least, but he didn't mention any of that. As you can imagine, I was properly scandalized and rightfully indignant. Anyway, fellas, I just wanted to share that story with you also. I would never use Photoshop to fabricate memories of us hiking in the mountains or camping by a lake. Nope, that would be simply ridiculous. I find that GIMP is a more cost-effective photo editor. Yours truly, Signor Eduardo El Grande Maloculio.
All right, so I'm just going to say,
Wow.
that's it. We're stopping the podcast right there. Beautiful ending. I love it.
Awesome. All right, well, see you later, guys.
It was wonderful. Can't wait till next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Indeed. I hope you make it back.
Oh, I
Anything
will.
you'd like to say to our listeners before we sign off?
Thank you. Thank you for listening to us.
All right.
Thank you so much.
We love you long time.
So much.